So iDubbbz continues to just get clowned on the internet in every way, shape, and form. He made a Reddit post talking about all the backlash he's been getting because of all the clips that keep coming out with him and his wife on their podcast, completely just coping about all of it. And he even went on Cold Ones the other day, that show with Maxmoefoe and Anythingforviews, who are two kind of OG YouTubers. I mean, they used to do content with iDubbbz way back in the day, back in 2016. So this was definitely seen as something hype, something cool, like the return of iDubbbz hanging out with them. And the audience just absolutely did not like it. They didn't enjoy his appearance one bit. The episode spanned across nearly 30 minutes, and it's basically them just testing random vintage kitchen gadgets. They just make food, and it's almost like a attempted throwback at kind of the old hair cake viral video that was done with iDubbbz, Filthy Frank, etc. But it just doesn't have the same charm and the same kind of weird, crazy vibe that the old videos had back in the day. And everyone in the comments can very easily tell. Bad King Brian says, "I've seen lobotomy patients show more pure joy and emotion than Ian. This guy seems like the homeschooled kid who your parents would force you to hang out with." 10 minutes in and the comments are already a war zone. Yeah. That random DoorDash driver they had come in on the episode was vibing better than them with their old friend. Holy moly. This is how I imagine the back member of the Human Centipede would interact if they all had a reunion. That's just tragic for your boy Ian. And yeah, this video is pretty cringe. At one point, iDubbbz just tries referencing some really old niche TikTok, and Maxmoefoe and Anythingforviews just have no idea what he's talking about, and they don't even laugh or interact with him at all. As some context, they're trying to make some pizza, and then he puts salami on the pizza. Luckily, someone off camera saves him, but just watch.
Oh, thank you. This one over here is looking kind of normal. Salami.
You seen that TikTok? Salami lid?
No.
He goes salami lid.
The container's too full of salami that it won't go on.
Yeah.
I think
Wait, listen to this. Listen to this.
so basically, like, there's a container full of salami and the lid won't go on.
Well said. Well said.
Is that it? Wait, didn't Darcy say preserve?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You gotta be
Preserve
mindful.
some ingredients.
Yeah, that's pretty much how the entire video is. That's honestly one of the better sections of the video when it comes to iDubbbz chemistry and interactiveness with the other two hosts. I feel like Anisa is off camera giving a death stare. Yeah, that's another thing too. For multiple periods of the video, he's also just sitting there completely silently, just awkwardly standing. It just does not come across like how you would expect some cool reunion of people to come across. Bro looks like he's actually banned from having fun. Damn. And yeah, I tried watching some of this for like research or whatever, and literally in the first like 5 minutes, he says maybe 10 words. He's kind of just standing there looking back and looking forward, just looking at Anythingforviews and Max just talking. It's just brutal. iDubbbz gave a response to the interaction that he got on this video on his She Ruined My Career podcast. And he actually said that he was being more of his authentic self in that video, despite all the criticism. So let's just watch this clip.
That was my intention when I went to Australia this time around, is I said, like, I want to come across as authentic.
Yeah.
I don't want to be like a crazy, exaggerated person because it doesn't feel right for whatever reason. Maybe it's because I was doing that for so long and that wasn't who I was. And like, you know, the audience is having a hard time following like what is I guess the video and what is me in real life.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I think I'll experiment with me being a little bit more like toned down, how I would be in real life. That video I recorded with Max and Chad, that is much closer to how I behave in real life. And I feel really bad that I didn't, I mean, it's a good experiment. I'm glad I did it, but I really wish that I had known that that energy is, I think, kind of needed for something like a Cold Ones video.
Yeah.
Which is a little bit more, like, if you're not going to be outwardly, like, loud and active, like, you got to make up for it a little bit with some crazy behavior, like shaving your eyebrows and your head.
Yeah.
It's so weird. It's like he talks like someone who has like never made YouTube content or never interacted with content on the internet, even though he's been doing it for the last like, what, 14 years of his life. He's like, I'm disappointed and I'm surprised that it really just didn't come across as entertaining when I was toned back and completely neutral and just acting as I would in any day-to-day experience. It's like, well, yeah, no shit. You have to try to amp it up and be entertaining for a video or really any kind of content in general. even though I speak incredibly monotone and very simple in my videos sometimes, I'm still amping up how I would normally talk and expanding on my words a little bit more, expanding on my thoughts a little bit more, trying to at least provide some kind of commentary on what's going on and what's happening and pointing out the funny things in certain areas. Like, that's the whole point of making a video. When people go on the internet to watch videos, usually they watch things to experience entertaining content, to watch people that are kind of exaggeratory, or to hear content that's exaggeratory. If someone watches true crime, any kind of content like that, they're not watching it because they just want to open up the internet and feel like it's just a normal, regular day. They want to be entertained, just like someone would if they're watching a movie, watching a romance. Anything to any capacity is supposed to be amped up for entertainment value. And Ian is just acting like, well, I should have just been able to show up and just stand around and kind of be chill and not really say anything or not talk. And I'm surprised people are, have this takeaway from it. I'm surprised people are saying I'm low energy and dead. It's like, well, yeah, because you're going on a show that's supposed to be high energy, crazy, doing stupid shit, making this stupid pizza that they make, and you're just kind of standing there doing nothing. Like, you are acting as if you're a viewer when the viewer is supposed to be the one that's standing there doing nothing and being entertained by you. And he continues on saying that basically he's probably not going to act like that anymore in the future. Here he says it in this clip.
But yeah, I mean, I think it was ultimately good that I did that Cold Ones video because, it seemed like the general consensus was like not the right energy.
Yeah.
And that is like vague enough for me to, I think, not get my feelings like super hurt and take that as like an indication that things got to change.
Yeah, okay. I mean, once again, this podcast is very strange because it doesn't really come across like any other podcast I've ever seen. They talk as if, and I've said this before, but like it's a therapy session or something. And again, I don't really know what the appeal of it is besides for people who are detractors and want to watch this to clown on them. Because he's talking like, yeah, I think it was a really important thing and it was a really good thing. And I think that luckily it wasn't too aggressive where it would hurt my feelings, but yeah, I think the takeaway is just change the energy. And it's like, okay, sure, bro, but like, why are you saying this on the internet? You're just like exposing every single weakness and every single thought and every single thing just for anyone to pick it all apart and just tear you up. It seems like just the worst possible idea for making some kind of entertaining podcast, because people who want to be entertained don't watch it to support you, they watch it to clown on you. So I don't understand this mindset that he seems to have with this podcast. It just doesn't fit at all in the type of content I would expect. And in another clip, iDubbbz addresses that viral clip that went around of him last year, where he went on Anthony Padilla's show and talked about how his audience was filled with incel basement dweller losers. Here's that clip as a reminder.
I did not like the interactions that I had with fans. There were quite a few human beings that I interacted with that just sucked because I attracted a lot of people who sucked. Some people were very much like antisocial, weird basement dwellers. The one time a month that they come out of their cave and they run into me, their favorite YouTuber.
And what would they say? What would they do?
Things that I am certainly not going to repeat.
And he addresses it in this clip saying that he was miscommunicating and he wasn't meaning his entire audience. Rather, there was just a few people who did end up being that way. Let's just watch this clip and see him describe it.
No, I think, to be honest, it's just like, in my mind, it's just like really bad communication on my part, because I started like doing things that I would say are like out of character for me, like me just going on the Anthony Padilla podcast. There was a line in there that sounded like really harsh, and it was like, yeah, when the basement dwelling person like comes out and sees their favorite YouTuber, they say a slur or something.
Because you were specifically talking about the fans that had come up to you and said a slur to you in public.
Yeah.
That's who you're specifically talking about. So when you say I was attracting basement dwellers, it makes a blanket statement that everyone who watches your stuff is a blanket or is a basement dweller, rather than you are attracting a lot of people, but with some of the stuff that you were doing, especially because there was satire and other things, you were also beaconing out to the basement dweller who comes out of their room once every month, who would say a slur to someone and think it's funny.
Yeah.
That's what there was the disconnect.
Yeah, exactly.
I think. I don't know.
Which honestly, it's a better clarification, but still at the same time, it's just a cringe, like stupid comment to make. Because pretty much any fan base of any person can have some random basement dwelling asshole And just this idea of like, well, your fans are incels. It's just like the most bottom tier argument to ever make to someone versus giving actual like criticism of their own content or anything like that, just attacking their fan base or attacking your own. It just doesn't really make much sense to me. It just never has personally landed. But lastly, I just want to read this post that he put on his subreddit that I tweeted out. And honestly, it was a banger post. Like, it got a fuckload of views, 3 million views. Holy shit. But I just want to read it. I captioned it, "Why is iDubbbz so weak and soy now? What the fuck is this post?" And it's him saying, "Thank you, iDubbbz community. Hey, y'all. I just wanted to say thank you to all the people who have been supporting me. Seeing all the posts defending me and Anisa means a lot. It's really difficult to try and make regular content when I'm worried about putting out random fires. I'm trying hard to find my new footing on YouTube, and I appreciate y'all being patient. I've been grinding on some bangers, and I'm confident I'll find my swag path. It's just gonna take some time. iDubbbz." And immediately I just watched this. I was like, ugh, brother, what are you doing? First, this idea that he's just putting out random fires. It's like, well, what do you expect when your entire content revolves around just randomly attacking, like the commentary community, randomly attacking people like Bo Blacks, saying that they're all incels, saying they all have stupid audiences. That's what Anisa does on her stream. You're surprised that the entire internet then responds to you saying those statements and you have to quote unquote put out random fire. It's just so weird to me. It's like, yeah, no shit. When you guys start talking shit, people are going to talk shit back to you in response. That's how it goes. But also this idea that he's been grinding out some bangers or something. I'm going to be so honest. The last content he's put out is just, I'm not a fan of it. He comes across just like childish. He speaks like a toddler in it. Like this opinions about strip malls video, it just does not seem very interesting. I tried watching it when it came out 6 months ago. It felt like a conversation that you would have with like a 6-year-old. Like it just did not feel like an entertaining YouTube video. And the problem is that he is capable of making good content. Like I actually did enjoy this Ice Cream Man video he put out where he did the whole documentary on Dax Flame. This was actually a good video. I watched it all the way through. I was thoroughly entertained. And through that, to be completely honest, I became a fan of Dax Flame. I follow him on TikTok. I like the content he puts out. It's funny. His weird, awkward personality is hilarious to me. And this was still 3 years ago, I believe, kind of in his quote-unquote weak and soy arc, as I described it in my tweet. So it's not like it's impossible for him to still make good content. It's not just being edgy and shitting on people and using slurs ironically. That's not the point. He can make good content without doing that. But he just decides to make these weird, just childlike videos that are pretty low effort and just not really that funny or entertaining in any way, when he has the capability to do shit that I think would be cool. And that's me being fair and unbiased towards iDubbbz. As much as it's nice to just shit on him and clown on him, what he's been trying to do now, it's just not, doesn't work for me. But on that note, they actually did talk about the documentaries that iDubbbz did. And Anisa brought up that she wants iDubbbz to do a documentary on a commentary YouTuber. Show up, obviously, consensually to where they live with them for like a week, just see what their day-to-day looks like. Here's him talking about how he specifically prefers to interview a faceless commentator for this role. Watch this clip.
It would be even more interesting, I think, if it was like a faceless commentator.
True.
Who then basically says like, yeah, I'm willing to show my face for the sake of this documentary, and that will be like my face reveal, to make it like kind of an interesting thing and give it a little bit more like punch.
Yeah.
Or it's like, yeah, just like, I'm good for all of this, just blur my face the whole time.
Oh,
for the whole thing.
Interesting.
Because I think that would still be interesting, because they would basically be admitting like, yeah, I don't want my identity known.
Yeah.
That's important to me, because a lot of them use that as kind of the excuse or the reasoning why they won't show their face is because safety, being anonymous, like you receive death threats, people can't, whatever.
Fire me from my job.
Right, shit like that. But if we obscure their face the whole time and just use their voice, like what more, like even if we also don't say specifically where they live, I think there is an avenue, as long as there's trust there, that we're still showing how they live.
And that's an interesting proposal. I mean, I technically am one of the faceless commentators that Anisa kept referencing multiple times in all her various responses that she made to this whole thing. Now, technically, I'm not entirely faceless. I have shown my face on other channels. even on certain live streams back in the day, a few years back. But recently I just haven't had access to my webcam, so I've been making faceless videos. But I'm not entirely against this idea of doing some kind of documentary or interaction with iDubbbz. He says he wants to build up trust with people like that, and also that they really don't have genuine hard feelings towards people who criticize them or shit on them. And it is an interesting idea, so iDubbbz, reach out to me. Maybe we can talk about doing something like that. I mean, I don't know. I think it'd be good. It'd be a funny experiment. I feel like it would come across like the Sam Hyde documentary where Sam Hyde starts like doing one on iDubbbz simultaneously as iDubbbz is doing one on him. And it just comes across like weird and strange and freaky. I feel like no matter who he does it with, that's how it's going to kind of be. But yeah, I don't know. Anyway, that's all I really got to say about this, you guys. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.